this is Sonia with R2 Solutions, and I want to show you these cards that I have, or tags that I have, and they're in my Etsy shop for sale. And the first set is called Cool Yule, and I named it that because it's based off of these little characters that I die cut using the Sizzix Tim Holtz Cool Yule Thinlits dies. And then the second set is, I'm calling it Christmas Songs, because there's just a bunch of different things that I use, dyes and things I use with it. So the first one, all of them have stitching going around them, and they all have this black fabric lace. And here's a little Christmas Santa, and it has stickles and some embossing glaze used on it, and some coffee dyed paper. And then it just has a little tag in it, and you can write to and from on the tag. And these are all double-sided. I used the Tim Holtz paper stash out of this one, and then I had some stenciling and some sprays and just different types of mixed media on them. Here's the second one, and I just stamped Merry Christmas. And then here's another one of those cute little characters. And then I took this from, these tags come from the Graphic 45 Place and Time collection. And like I said, all of these are double-sided, and they all have stitching. And this one's called Snow. And you have a tag, a little tuck spot here. Here's another one of the little deer. It has a little shine to it, and it's double-sided as well. And then this one's got winter, and then you have your little snowman. And then it has a little tag, and it's double-sided. So that's the first one, that's the first set. And then the second set, Be Merry. And I did a lot of stamping with these. I used a lot of the Graphic 45 Christmas Carol stamps on some of these. And I did that, that's Graphic 45, Graphic 45. And I basically stamped these 3 times, cut them out in different colors, and embossed them, and then stacked them up to give it a 3D kind of look. And then I used the Tim Holtz Lamppost die on this one. And then I ran the colors over top of some Distress Oxide inks, and use some clear embossing powder on it. And then here's the last one. And got the stickles on some of these. And then here's the tag, inside the tag. And then some more stenciling. Okay, so like I said, these will be on sale in my Etsy shop at Multimedia Crafts Digital, and I'll have a link below in the description where you can get these at. So let me show you how I made these. So let's get started. Okay, and these are all just really beautiful papers, and it's kind of hard to know which ones to choose to use, but yeah, I think I'll use some of these 6x6 papers, since they've already got like a collage of different memorandas. So I'm just going to cut these up. Into 3x3s. maybe not 3x3s, but 3x6s, I guess. And then some of them I'm going to take the sides off. I'm just going to use some corner punches on some, and I want to measure it. I'm just going to cut off the corners of them. Okay, so I have those. I'm just going to keep those over there. I might use those to add to the collage. And then some of these, I'm just going to use the corner punch on the tops of them. And then I'm just going to take the bottom and cut them down and create an edge. Okay, so I'm going to add some stenciling and different things to this. So this time I'm going to use texture paste. Hopefully this will work pretty well. And this is just a Ranger texture paste. So these are pretty much dry. And I'm just going to take some peeled paint. I'm just going to go over it just a little bit, some of these, just a few of them. Some of the stenciled areas, just so it can kind of pop a little bit. And then I'm going to go back over it with some brown. And this is Walnut stain. And I'm even just going to kind of go over it a little bit with some black pigment, just a little bit, just in patches. Then I'm just going to take a brush and I'm just going to get some gesso. And I'm just going to whitewash it just a little bit. This just kind of makes it pop a little bit, so. And I'm just going to take my rag and kind of dampen around the areas that I don't want as pronounced. And it helps kind of blend it in a little bit as well. I'm just going to take some of this Glimmer Mist. This is Tattered Angels. Water-based, acid-free, Princess Blue. I'm just gonna spray some of this. Just a little bit. Just gonna let that dry. Okay, and then I'm just gonna distress the edges with some of this walnut stain. Then I'm just going to take some of this Texture Luxe Faber Castell Gold. I'm just going to take my finger and just kind of barely touch over some of the spots to give it that gold kind of gilded look. I'm just going to set those to the side. And then with these, I'm going to do some stamping on these. Oh, you know, I left this one out. Completely forgot about it. It's dry. I'll come back and do that one similar to how I have those. First, I'm going to go ahead and ink the edges. Okay, so I'm going to do some stamping, and then I'm also going to do some die cutting. So I think I'll do some stamping first, and I'm going to stamp on some separate paper. And what I want to also do is I'm going to take some enamel, distressed enamel glaze, and I'm going to go over some of these stamped items. So I'm doing a Christmas theme right now, so I'm just round up some Christmas stamps. Okay, so I'm gonna first start off with the Stampers Anonymous. What is this? Things Talk. I guess you can see that. So I'm just gonna stamp some of these. And I'm probably gonna fussy cut out some of it. But before I get started on all of that, let me move all of this out the way and get my embossing glazes. And I've already got my heat gun. I think I'll use some of this archival ink. This is Color Box Chalk. Chestnut Roan, or Chestnut Roan, or Roan, whatever that is. So I'm just going to stamp these in that color. And I'm going to take some red . I'm going to go ahead and emboss it. And then I'm just going to take this Graphic 45. It's a Christmas Carol theme. I think it's a Christmas Carol 2 or 3. I'm not really sure which one it is. So there's some great images on there as well. So I'm going to take this and do the same thing. But this time I'm going to use some black ink. And I think I will use the green enamel instead of the red. I'm gonna pour some of this red enamel on there. No, I think I'm gonna do the green. That's right, I did say green. Well, then again, actually, I think I'll do red because red is gonna make it pop with all that green that's already in there. There's a lot of green that's already inside each one of the tags. Now what I'm going to do with this one, this is the Lamppost Stamp. I'm going to stamp it 3 different times with 3 different colors. one's going to be for the base, and then the other is to get embossed. That one's good, but it's not red enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the actual red stamp, and I'm going to use a clear embossing powder. It's not going to be the glaze, it's just going to be the embossing powder itself. Now the glaze does still have like a red tint to it, but it's not as red as I would like for it to be. And this is just your regular standard detail embossing powder. So that's what that red compared to this red looks like. But they both work. So I'm going to fussy cut these out, but before I do that, I'm going to die cut some shapes. I also have, these are both really similar, the Lamppost, but here we have the stamp Graphic 45, and then we have the Lamppost die Tim Holtz. So I'm going to kind of play around with both of them. And I'm going to use some cream color paper. So I have my base plate, my paper, my die, my paper, and then the top plate. Just going to run it through. And then we have our shapes. And I'm going to run some colors over there and emboss over top of those images and emboss those. But before I do that, I'm going to add these to some cardstock. I mean some chipboard, just to make it a little more sturdy. So I die cut this lamp out twice, one with cardstock and then the other one with chipboard, and I'm just going to glue these together, and then I'll do my embossing. Okay, so what I did was I just kind of distressed the edges of this little stamped image, and then I glued it to some brown cardstock. I'm just going to fussy cut it out. Now what I'm going to do with these is the black is going to be the base, and then I'm going to have the green wreath and then the red bow. So I'm going to cut the wreath out. Try to fussy cut it out. And then to make it stronger, I'm also going to glue this to the back of some brown cardstock. But first I'm going to distress around the edges. Okay, so I did some more stamping and embossing. I'm just going to cut these out. Okay, so I finished die cutting and embossing and doing all kinds of things to some of these different shapes. And you know, I'd stamped some of these in different colors, so I fussy cut them out and then glued them together, the green and the red. And then I used the Lamppost die on this one. So basically all I did, you know, I double cut out the images, glued them together, and then I just took it across some of the different inks, the distress inks. I used the green distress ink and I just rubbed it up against it. Put some embossing powder on it, some clear detail embossing powder, transparent. And I did the same with the red for the bow. And embossed these and glued these together. So basically I did similar things to these little images here. These are the Tim Holtz Thinlits, the Cool Yule. Here are some of the different images. And now I just added some stickles to it. So I'm just going to add some of all of these, and I also cut out some words from my digital kit on my Etsy shop called Holiday Sentiments. I just cut some of those out and added them to some black cardstock, and then I also used the Merry Christmas Thinlits die and cut these out, and as well as the bows. So I'm just going to add these to some of the tags. But before I do that, I think I'm going to sew around the edges. I might make like a collage to add to some of these. I'm just going to rip up some papers, collage them on, and then sew them on, stitch them on, and then I'll add these embellishments on top of them. Stitched around some of the edges. So now I'm going to add some of these little words and things just at random. Okay, so I added some black lace ribbon and I stitched around the edge, and I went on ahead and glued on some sentiments on each one of these, and I made some tags. Well, I didn't make the tags, but these were cut out from Graphic 45 Place and Time sentiments, and I'm just going to stick some of these, a tag in each one of these cards, so they're like double-sided. Okay, like that. That'll work. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, click the bell, check out my social media sites and my blog and stuff, and thanks for watching.